Hi everyone, my name is Genesis Acosta and I'm currently a third grade teacher pursuing a specialist degree in education. In today's video, we will be navigating adulthood and learning how one can create a positive mindset. I want to share a deeply personal journey that highlights how development continues across one's lifespan, not just in childhood, but for adults as well. The focus of this video is on identity crisis and anxiety in emerging adulthood, alongside emotional and cognitive challenges during middle adulthood. This topic matters because for so many of us, whether young adults or seasoned adults, experience moments where we feel overwhelmed, uncertain, and disconnected from ourselves. If this resonates with you, I hope this video gives you both understanding and practical tools for you to use. For this project, I decided to focus on a 22-year-old male, my son. From an early age, he was confident, articulate, and highly independent. He had a clear vision. He was going to gain his BA in political science, then go straight into law school, and eventually achieve a leadership role at the highest level of our government. He followed his path. He got his BA, political science, and went straight into law school. It was then when things started to shift. He began to experience anxiety, depression, isolation, overwhelmingness. He felt disconnected from his family, his friends. He expressed this to me. And in expressing this to me, I decided to go take a flight and go see him. As I was on the plane, I was thinking through my mind of what I can do to help him. I had just began this course and I was determined to show up. But this time, not just as a parent, but as someone that had gained a little knowledge in the area of development. When I arrived, I saw the change immediately. He was quiet, withdrawn, and overwhelmed, something that I never saw in him before. We tried to problem solve. I, definitely was trying to find different solutions as I used different tools from different theories, which all led me to understand that this was not about solving a problem. This was about meeting a person that was developing right where they were at. I came with all the frameworks, but I could definitely say I left with wisdom, not only for him, but also for myself. At the same time, I was navigating my own developmental challenges. As someone in middle adulthood, I was balancing different roles: wife, mom, teacher, friend, mentor, daughter, and all of that was taking a toll on me. I began to feel like I was always emotionally reactive. I was also overstimulated very quickly. I felt increasingly critical of others. I just started to feel so disconnected and isolated, something I had never experienced before in my life. I have also other impacting factors that were going on at the same time. I got diagnosed 2 years ago with ADHD. I also have a lot of past experience um, with taking care of my family, taking care of my parents, and definitely all of that are life stressors that were occurring at the moment. So, despite having a stable life, quote unquote, on the outside, I was definitely struggling internally. And all of this happening and what was happening with my son helped me to begin to reflect deeply on what was happening in my world. And I realized that just like my son, I needed to grow. I started to think about all of the theoretical insights I had been learning. And I started to explore different ones that I can use as effective tools to help me continue to develop. One of those theorists that I looked on to explore as an effective tool was Vygotsky's social cultural theory. And through scaffolding and zone of proximal development, I learned how one can take task, overwhelming task, and put them in more manageable steps to help my son as well as myself rebuild a structure in our lives. So with my son, I used the zone of proximal development and scaffolding to help him break down complex tasks that he felt that he had yet to complete and catch up on his schoolwork and commitments. I told him he doesn't have to feel like he has to conquer everything at once and that he can break his task into smaller, achievable parts. For myself, I knew that I needed to take action and practice and establish accountability to ensure that I apply the change throughout my day. But I didn't want to be overwhelmed. I wanted to focus on being grateful every day. And my plan was to start off small by making at least 3 statements of gratitude a day and writing them in my calendar. Then I looked onto another theoretical insight, which was Erickson's psychosocial theory, which aligns with my son's experience of identity versus role confusion and intimacy versus isolation. He was questioning who he was and withdrawing from others. And thinking about Erickson's psychosocial crisis and how one can help by providing a positive resolution, I decided to help foster a sense of identity and promote autonomy with him and offer encouragement throughout this time. And my role as parent definitely shifted as I started to guide him more to support him and to understand that him being uncertain is part of development. Therefore, it's okay if we don't have all the answers. For me, my self development aligned with generativity and stagnation. I had to think about my future as an aging adult. I had to decide whether to continue living in negativity or allow myself to start being grateful for my life and to support others. Another theory that helped me understand and provide a very powerful lens to help me understand the disruptions that were going on with my son in his system of development. I really looked into Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory. He, at this time, was experiencing a big disruption in his world. His microsystem transitioned from being social to being isolated. His mesosystem, He broke down in connections between family, school, and his peers. And his SO system, external pressures from law school and culture and expectations, everything was mismatched. Nothing was being aligned. And everything happened very, very quickly, where everything felt disconnected. And his distress wasn't a personal failure. What I learned was that it was an environmental mismatch. He went from being around all his friends and family and also living in a city to now living in a rural area where all his friends and family lived very far away. This realization became incredibly liberating, especially for him who is a high achiever. For myself, I experienced this in a whole different way. Growing up, my systems for me were not ever aligned. It was always seemed like I lived in two different worlds. A world that was very personal, family orientated, to a world that was not connected to that. And I came to realize that this disruption created two worlds for me that didn't really interact together. Another theoretical insight is Gibson's theory of perception. And perception can improve developmentally through practice. So, this was very, very important to me because it helped me understand that sometimes you have to shift your perception, you have to shift the way you look at things. And that's where my gratefulness and being aware of it and keeping track of it really helped me to focus on the positive things around me. It helped me to see people in a different way. It also helped me become more understanding to the things that we're experiencing. Also, I came to realize that my self evaluation was very deep in understanding my diagnosis of my ADHD and how that can impact the way I perceive the world around me. This experience also helped me to evaluate the usefulness in the different theories. Like, I totally, with Vygotsky's theory, provided actionable strategies and immediate impact. Um, and Brunifaux's theory offered deep contextual understanding. And Gibson's theory helped me explain perception. So, all of these theories help me to understand that no single theory is enough. Development is best understood through various lens, various forms of understanding. Reflecting on this experience, I realized the depth of growth that occurred, the analytical depth that I was able to reach to examine myself, my childhood, and early adult environments allowed me to understand myself with greater honesty. And my gratitude practice, though small, was very powerful. It led me to repair relationships. It led me to shift my perception. It allowed me to become more present, more appreciative. So, growth is not always loud and dramatic. Sometimes it's just quiet, consistent, and deeply meaningful. So, you too can overcome challenges during adulthood And these are some applicable strategies that I learned and I'm going to continue to implement as I continue to age. Number one, you can break overwhelming tasks into smaller steps. So just like I just did a small calendar, a plan, start somewhere. Also, you can rebuild and maintain your support systems. So everybody needs other people in order to maintain some sort of community. Know that you don't have to be in isolation. It's very important for us as human beings to form and develop intimacy with others. You could practice daily gratitude. Even one statement a day matters. You can rethink the way you look at things by using cognitive reappraisal. And don't ever feel like you're alone. You can always seek professional help when needed, just like I expressed to my son as soon as he returned home from law school. And give permission to yourself to pause, to take some time to reevaluate yourself. Thank you for joining me in this journey that I experienced. I appreciate your time and hope this video was helpful.